Zoom in.
All right, now.
Okay, calling our Economic Development Committee meeting to order.
Here at 6 p.m.
Roll call.
Richardson here.
Davis here.
Reimer here.
Morrison here.
Higgins here.
Any public comment? Keep it down. Pick a number.
Let's get home to her job.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
So does our new member know about the meeting?
Well, he's not technically new.
Oh,
He's interested.
oh, he's interested.
He's interested, yes. Yes.
And nobody online?
No,
He was
no,
here
no,
last time.
no one in the building.
Oh, no,
Okay.
sorry, no.
All right, so no public comment. Minutes reviewing the October meeting. Sue, would you like to read the minutes?
Okay, meeting called to order, by interim chair Jenny Morrison. Roll call, everybody here except Wofford. Designated the chair, Morrison elected. Designated secretary.
No.
Oh,
Actually, you don't actually have to read it.
Okay, you don't have to read it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any
Has-
questions?
Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
No, but I will right now.
And then it's a motion to approve, a second, any discussion, and then a vote.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes?
I would second said motion. Any discussion?
Well,
Other than I see I'm down here to give an update, but I don't recall that, so.
the new committee member was not selected.
Yeah, and I thought he was, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
we'll
that
just
would be
scratch that.
edited.
So potential new committee member.
No.
Discussed, you could say,
Yeah,
instead of selected.
yeah, discussed.
Meetings to be held first Tuesday, 3 p.m. City Hall Annex. Is that what we are?
Turned up for.
So what we would do is make a motion then to approve the amended minutes. And then look for a second. All in favor? Oh, actually, any discussion, which we already had, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Am I supposed to
Aye.
be saying this, Philip?
Oh,
Are you the chair?
No, that's right, you do that, sorry.
You
I
know,
got Robert's ruling on it.
You can coach me, but I just
Yeah.
want to be official here. Okay, so we're gonna say, now, of course, I forgot what I said. What you said.
So we would have a motion
Motion to approve it
the amended
with the
minutes.
amended minutes?
Yep, which we
I make
did.
a motion to approve the amended minutes.
There you go. And then a second,
Second.
and then discussion,
Any discussion?
and a vote.
Okay. All in favor of approving the amended minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Any negatives? Any not in favor? Okay, approved.
Gavel that.
Thank you, coaches.
I wish unfortunately don't have my Robert's Rules for Dummies book anymore. I gave it away,
I can
but
probably get.
She's,
it's really great. for
Okay.
reading.
I bet it's really fun, super fun. Okay, so we don't have, did you hear back from Toby?
he
regarding-
just said he is still investigating and he was gonna try to make the meeting, but he didn't know if he would, so he might still be late, I'm not sure.
All right. Unfinished business. So we definitely had a lot, because our first meeting was really trying to get a sense of what the heck we're hoping to accomplish. And so we didn't make it through everything, so we'll go back to our unfinished business here. So summarizing the accomplishments and future objectives of the previous Economic Development Committee. And then clearly define the goals that we have.
So, did we do that? Or
I
we are
don't-
doing that now?
I think we touched on what we did before, right? I think.
Yeah, we
kind of-
talked about the
I
formula
think-
business regulations.
I think 3J grant was an accomplishment that is ongoing, and then you mentioned the formula business,
Yeah,
and you mentioned, I think just forming.
oh, the historic, the work around the historic designation.
Except for that one actually didn't take place until last month. Because remember,
Right.
it
Oh,
was
but as far as-
created, but then it
yes.
never went anywhere.
Yes, so that was
So
just
that's
kind of
a
more like a goal, yes.
But Wyoming started a conversation over a year and a half ago with the state of Oregon
Over the historic.
for the historic downtown.
So we'll just bring that to this group's discussion for when we read pick that up.
Yeah, we
Okay.
talked about that last meeting. And I informed everybody and gave out handouts.
So I think, I mean, my 2 cents on the defining goals and things like that, right? So a lot of the work to lay the foundations for what future goals will be is being done in terms of the Citizens Advisory Committee, like the meetings that took place last night, the code update and review, the, the potential for the economic opportunity analysis, which is the industrial and commercial lands, the
Which would be
housing
a
needs.
next step.
Right, the housing needs analysis. So all the stuff that Doug and 3J are doing, those are sort of the foundational things that need to be in place in order for the town to be able to receive any sort of new things and or economic development benefit. The next sort of goals, besides talking about the historic preservation and then the parks plan and things like that, I think would be to, one, look at how the downtown is integrated into that conversation, which unfortunately I missed some of that. So the central business district should be a focus. And then also some planning and outreach within the community, which I think we can do that in tandem with the meeting that's coming up, the public meeting.
So,
That'll help inform that.
Yeah, so you guys are both aware November 21st is the public meeting for those grants that he's talking about, for the public to hear what the committee's been hearing and to provide feedback. We advertise that at Trunk or Treat. Did we get rid of all those flyers?
No, I have them. I forgot to bring them.
Did we
Yes,
distribute them though?
We
that night?
distributed, yes. The
Several.
rain, oh yeah, and talk to people
Yeah,
about it.
cool. So
Yes.
we advertised it at Trunk or Treat. Jenny did, thank you. And it's posted on our website. It's posted on Facebook. I believe,
Is it on the board over there? Maybe we could stick.
I
some
think
in.
it's on the board. Pam also, I think, is posting it on her Facebook.
What time is it?
It's November 21st, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock here. And the consultants will give a broad overview of both grants and what's been going on, and then they will invite public feedback and questions.
Okay.
So it's really important that everyone
to eight?
comes. 6 to 8. So spread the word and have the whole community come like they did to the Doug Rooks one. And then also, Phil, on that meeting last night, they added a fourth committee meeting because what we got through last night was so in detail. We didn't even get to the comp plan. So now they need to add another one, which they'll tell us
Yeah,
later
which
when
is-
that will be.
I mean, it's not surprising that was a big plate to.
It was a
get your way
lot.
through.
It was a lot last night, so they literally had to kind of go over it like 3 times just to get through all of it. But it's one of those things that as much as possible, be here for the
Yeah.
discussion because we're at the point now where we really need the feedback from the committee.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sorry. had a
I know you
conflict.
can't, I know.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
conflict then, but the rest of the ones, yes.
Yeah, and so for all of us, though, I think it's gonna be really interactive at this point they're gonna be looking for our,
Yeah, and that's why I tried to like get my notes in so that there's.
yeah,
some-
no, that's really helpful.
Yeah, so I mean, I generally, in terms of the economic development stuff that I've been involved in previous, the sort of the agendas are set on 2 separate levels, right? There's the committee and or group that's working on certain economic development things. And then there's also sort of a public layer that is sort of the frosting on top of whatever cake you're baking. And that public frosting layer is essential in that you need to engage sort of the town and some of the citizens so that you make sure that the things that you're doing don't run sort of counter to community sentiment,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, if we said, we think the best thing in the world is to put a Ferris wheel in the corner of First and Main, right? And we started to work on that, and then the public came out with pitchforks and torches and said, this is the worst idea ever, we hate this. You want to avoid those situations when possible. A lot of the work that we're going to be doing is going to be really kind of in-depth and boring, and not, the public won't care, and there won't be any sort of impact. But some of the forward-facing things, people will have opinions about. And we'll also need engagement too, right? I mean,
So do we think then, I'm trying to get my head around like this committee and then the learnings from the community advisory committee and then the YDA. And it's like, so is it that we are going to take what comes from the community advisory committee meeting? So what the grants, all of that is sort of foundational possibilities to go
Mhm.
from, like to build on. Because,
Yeah, I mean, we
Once
have to,
we
because
have-
that's gonna be city policy and it's
Yeah.
also meeting state requirements. So that is gonna be the foundational thing that we
Okay.
build on. But then YDA adds its piece and then
Mhm.
economic development adds this piece. And I see this committee, at least partially, as sort of that next layer of what are the types of businesses we want here? What is the look of the CBD that we want? And what else can be bringing
Mhm.
economic development to the community, like parks, for example?
Right.
What other ideas are there out
Mhm.
there that can be bringing that?
Well, and advocating for storefront improvement grants and trying to get people who are, you know, merchants, local merchants to participate and, you know, the community to turn out for, I mean, we used to, I think actually, have we done the trash pickup day since you've been
Mm-mm.
on? So
no,
we'd had a couple like Earth Day, like trash pickups and had people come out and like, you know, sort of rally. I mean, Mayor Potter was painting curbs and Hesacker had some citizens up in the bucket of his tractor
Oh,
trimming
that's
bushes and things. But, you know, I mean, getting community engagement to coalesce around
Yeah.
things like that, I mean, that's
so that's an
important.
idea.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that builds, you know, it gives people, I don't know, it gives them
Builds the beautification.
ownership of the
Yeah.
community.
And you know, like even your Cycle Oregon and how can that bring economic development to the community? And then like the Beverly Cleary events, how can that be bringing? So I feel like there is gonna constantly be that overlap.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be the ones sort of taking all the pieces and being like, okay, how can we use this to our advantage to bring economic
Mhm.
development to the
And I
community?
got some ideas from the Main Street conference that Karen and I went to, and just one of the sessions that I sat in on, so I can wait till we get to that, but it totally fits with the community
That's-
involvement and then also to help with.
But that's kind of what I see as the goals of this committee, but I mean, I'm open to whatever everybody
No,
else thinks as
that's-
well.
So I
You
hate to,
engage the community though, because it's just like, I mean, this thorn in my, is across the street. There was months of hashing it over before three members of the planning commission approved it and two did not. I'm one of the did nots, in case anybody remembers. Anyway, and then as soon as development started, everybody's like, well, what's going on over there? Well, why is it looking like that? That doesn't, there's all this stuff. And people from our community didn't have a clue, even though there was public hearings, there was everything. Why? I mean-
You're always gonna have that. I mean, I can't tell you,
Some extent, it's like, how much can you
yeah.
do? It's kind of until something like that comes that they don't like that, then they start paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, cause you can only do so much. Even yesterday, I asked Angie about posting something. And what was mandatory, and she said, well, really, technically, we only need to post it to our website to meet public law. But we post it to our Facebook, we post it to the board out here, we post it to the post office. We now have a phone tree that a citizen has agreed to do, and one other gal posted to another Facebook page. So and we put it up here. So it's sort of like, you can only do so much, and people have to take the initiative also to be engaged and try to look for that information, because we've tried to provide it electronic and not electronically. So I think you're right. There is an extent to where you can do what you can, but then at some point, people have to choose to be engaged too.
We need
You
a
know.
town crier,
The town
and I
crier.
nominate Robert.
Yeah.
So what I
Just
was-
like, here.
so what I
I
was,
just don't know what else there is. you can do.
so what I was going to suggest, I appreciate Sue's, attempt at the minutes, but it doesn't fully represent what we talked about on the 15th. If you refer to your agenda for the 15th of last month, it is more comprehensive and shows more of the information
we
that
didn't
we.
get
But we
through
didn't get
everything.
through it.
We got through most of it.
No, we did not.
Well, probably half of it.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
and it's recorded. I
We
think
got
that's
into
why we
Main Street,
decided.
we got into fixing up, and we got the parks plan. What we didn't get to was cycle, travel, and discussion, which,
Okay, so we're moving along here to,
and the only reason I bring that up is because it's got a lot of previous information that was already discussed.
yeah. But I think we can.
Well, Are there any other goals though, that besides what we've all discussed, that anyone else has for this committee? Because I think it's important that we identify what they are.
What?
I mean, I think you're right, that community engagement is important and it has to be part of this. I just don't know what else besides what we're already doing to do that.
I mean, I think on goals, and I don't want to interrupt, because I think the community engagement's an important part of this, but I think on the goals, there should be, I mean, there's sort of like the big picture goals, and then there's the project goals, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, and that's, you know, the projects are, you know, the historic preservation designation, you know, the parks, you know, things like that. The bigger stuff should be, you know, the direction that we're trying to, you know, what do we, out of our work, what do we want it to result in, right? So if we could fast forward.
Downtown core.
Yeah, if we could fast forward 10 years, what does that look like? And then if that 10 years from now looks like something that the community says, oh yeah, gosh, we actually kind of like what you're doing, you know, then it's like, do the work to get there. And that's the sub projects that inform the main goals.
So I propose that we come up with kind of like, it's like our mission statement or mission goals, like maybe it's like 3 main buckets, because I think, and then we can have the other things then like fall under that, but 3 seems, or maybe it's just 2, but like
Right, like-
overreaching goals.
Like a mission statement
Yeah,
and then some
and like
goals
categories.
underneath it, and we can sort of put those together, and then everybody can say, yeah, I like that, and
Yeah.
no, I don't, and
Yeah.
we can refine it from
Yeah,
there.
because then that'll help, I know it'll help keep me focused on like, okay, what are we doing here and where does it fit with all the other things?
Well, it was super helpful, Newburgh City Council, when they were first elected, there was a lot of new members. And so the city manager, who you know, worked with council to come up with, I think they have either 10 or 12 goals, I don't remember.
6.
Is it 6? Okay, well, that's even better. But so everything that the council actually is presented to council is presented within the framework of one of those 6 goals.
And by the way, that is also our goal, is to have something like 6 goals. When we have a new council, we'll be having a retreat around them,
Okay,
just so you know. And so then this work would obviously feed that.
right.
Okay.
And that's, I think the way Will did that is really good, because it'll be like, you know, we're voting today on, you know, X, Y, Z. And as part of X, Y,
It
Z,
meets
just to
X,
remind council, this meets goal number, you know, 1 and 5.
Right, that's what we'll do.
And then everybody kind of goes, oh yeah, and it funnels the conversation
Make sure you're
into.
staying on focus and track, yeah.
Mhm.
So can I throw out a mission statement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just to see if everyone is on the same page or if this is too broad. To bring economic vitality to Yam Hills Central Business District and create a thriving community to live, work, and play. I know that's
Oh my gosh, I love
overused,
it.
but
That's great.
yes.
Can you say that again,
Something
please?
to that
To bring
extent.
economic vitality.
to bring economic vitality to the Yam Hill Central Business District and create a thriving community to live, work, and play.
So I love the live, work, and play aspect of it.
Absolutely.
So then obviously,
You like that?
But I can't write.
I can
fast
say it
enough
again.
either.
To create or to bring economic vitality to, I guess you could say, the city of Yam Hill or Yam Hills CBD, Central Business District. And let me know when you want me to stop talking. And create a thriving community to live, work, and play.
and so then what we would want to do is take that, because that's really broad and kind of abstract, is that underneath that, in order to do that, right? And maybe we say, you know, live, work, and play, right? Or the categories, right? And so live is whatever, work is sort of the CBD zoning stuff, play is parks. And so live would probably
Oh,
be the
yeah,
historic preservation part of it, right? So that's one of the goals.
Plus if mixed uses live.
Right.
Yeah,
And then work is obviously also the mixed use, but storefront improvement grants
Yes.
and, you know, community outreach and things like that, which also probably overlaps with work.
I
And
like
then
that.
play is, you know, parks and
oh my gosh, this
parks,
is so
schools,
fast.
crosswalks, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And so that kind of,
Well, play can also incorporate trunk or treat and the
Oh,
activities that
yeah.
happen in downtown,
Yes.
YDA activities.
right.
Yeah,
And also supporting our local merchants to have you know, activities and things like that, right? So
Lake Cleary Day at
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
I love it. Good job, Shelley.
That
Oh my
was, I
gosh.
thought we were gonna, like, that was gonna take the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, all right, everybody go home. We're done.
Well, I have put some thought into
That's
this.
great. Okay, so historic, I like that, like, so historic preservation, so that, what was the commercial part? How did you just say storefront improvement, or just storefronts or
Yeah,
commercial?
the storefront improvements, some of that has to do with the zoning code stuff that we're talking
So
about.
what would be
working
a-
through.
What would be a good single word for that, would you say?
The mixed use.
I mean, it's, you know,
Historic,
it's-
commercial,
it's really, it's the regulatory environment that I don't know how to like.
how to, if we have our three sub buckets, what's a good word to, that encompasses
What those
storefront
are?
improvement, yeah, the business, encouraging businesses to be here, you know, all of that.
Business recruitment. And,
I was just looking for one word.
oh, the word,
possible.
oh, I see too. The buckets.
Yeah, the buckets.
Um,
I mean, it could be two words, I guess, something and something, but,
I have to think about that.
okay. How does everybody feel about that? Robert, Sue?
Does it encompass what you're thinking?
Depends on the word.
Well, I meant
But
the whole, the whole
then-
statement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But we can probably come up with that word, and we can all go back to
Okay,
our
so-
thesaurus and figure something out.
Okay, yeah, so parks,
And Jenny, if maybe share your notes with Sue afterwards too, in case
Yeah.
you guys
Oh,
are
yeah.
So,
practicing.
right, so the play is the parks, it's the Beverly Cleary stuff.
Yeah.
It's working with our
YDA.
schools, it's the YDA.
so maybe
I mean,
those
it's,
are.
part of it is too, is,
Activities.
yeah, part of it is that these things also like, I mean, they're all like a gear and they all work in tandem, right? And so you can't have, you know, if you neglect the livability side or the play side or the work side, you know, you.
Because the
you
live
miss
is
a- You
To
miss
live in
a,
the CBD, right?
Yeah.
Which only really would include the mixed use, because there's no residential other than those that are outside of code,
right,
right? Okay.
Okay, so maybe just the three buckets are live, work, play, and then description underneath.
Yeah.
I was trying to like.
and
recreate.
those, under those live, work, play buckets will obviously have, you know, categories and activities and things to do,
Yeah.
like, you know, the historic district. and-
No, we can flesh that out.
Okay, beautiful.
You need a whiteboard? Oh, you need a whiteboard.
I just need to pull my eraser out of this.
So really, we defined our mission, but we still have to define our goals, right?
Well, I think the mission, so, you know, we define the mission. And then I think we need some, obviously, some conversation. We can put goals on there, right? Whatever those are, which is like, you know, to do the ball fields or to get the downtown designated a historic area, or, you know, whatever those actual activities are. But we also need to look at when we have the public hearings, you know, the public meetings and things like that, is to start looking at, you know, soliciting feedback from people and see if maybe there's some.
So as far as goals though, for today's agenda. Oh, hi, Jason.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
As far as
Go
goals-
Bees. Yeah, for sure.
As far as goals for today's agenda,
Grab your paper.
could we just identify goals that we individually would like to see in the CBD? And then we can sort of, you know, initially categorize them. Well, that's a play goal, that's a live goal, that's a work goal. But we can at least throw out our ideas and then start a list that way. And then in the future, we can
Yeah.
incorporate what the public thinks of that, plus what they think. We can start there.
Does the city keep track of email addresses for the businesses?
I think so, yeah.
Because when we have the community things,
Mhm.
I really think that would be,
Email it to them.
yeah.
Oh,
That's a
Yeah.
good
yeah,
idea.
maybe there's, yeah, like a
Because, you know,
announcements.
I'm sorry, I remember last meeting, you were talking about juggling, you know, getting your kids to this and that, and, you know, and I said Kristen's not involved anymore because, I mean, she's got 5 of them, she's, you know,
Right.
plus work. Mary down at T&E never was involved in anything that we were doing when we were talking about this thing over here, which really, really surprised me, because it definitely is going to affect her.
You're
in
saying
her
she was
business.
not involved?
Not involved.
Well,
She-
she's
she-
on our committee for the citizen.
But
advisory.
she did not ever come to any of
Right,
our
that's
plans.
the
No.
her first sort of entree into it, which is awesome, right?
So now she's.
Well, yeah,
in it.
but what I'm saying is, I know that I'm on my way out as far as my business is concerned. I'm not near as involved as I used to be. I don't put in 60, 70 hours a week anymore. I'm letting the grandkids take the brunt of it, and I'm not intimately involved in the workings of it. I'm doing the accounting, the payroll, and all of the junk that comes through because of government agencies and whatnot. I know as a business person what it's like. You're looking at your calendar, and I've lived that life for so many years. People in business have got lives too, and they've got their businesses that's clogging them down, and then they've got their home life and anything else that they're involved in. And I really just feel like maybe even if it's redundant, that we remind them and remind them and remind them that we want them involved in this process, because it affects them so much.
Well, and I also think even, to tag onto that, besides just like reminding them, hey, we want your involvement, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to show up at a meeting at 6 o'clock at night, right? If you want to provide either public testimony on the record, or you want to just pop over a helpful suggestion.
Or meet at your convenience, like.
Yeah,
hey, meet
send
her-
a text, send an email, do
And it is
do
by
whatever.
Zoom too, if they can attend by Zoom.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. Let's email the businesses with public notice about this meeting. That's a good idea.
And then
for
also
November
just try to
25th.
have conversations with people too. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's helpful.
And you notify YNA and you'll notify YDA, and we'll
Mhm.
continue to advertise it wherever we can.
And then I'll get Pam to do it, or she can get Pam to do it.
Do what?
Notify people on Facebook on
Yeah.
her account.
Yeah, I think she hopefully already is, but
And
It
some
is
of these aren't just storefront businesses, but also people who have services too. I think
I mean,
like yours.
I'm not a storefront, but
Yeah.
I'm intimately involved as far as the
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that
like
excites.
something to think.
Yeah, and that's the thing that excites me too, is like, how do we get the people that you don't actually visually see,
Mhm.
right? Cause there's, 20 different trucks with somebody's logo on the side of it that's called Yamhill Home, but you don't see them except when you're passing them on the road. How do we get those people like, out of the woodwork and engaged? Because they have a stake in this,
Absolutely, we do.
so.
so what are
How do
some,
we find them?
I'm disappointed that you're doing bookkeeping and not coming to clean my gutters though. I had expected to see you on my.
Ah,
Boston Gutterman started as Dave and Sue. And I was doing hardware store 60 hours a week, and as soon as I got done with that, and I did the phone and everything in between, but I was the other gutter person. Mhm.
wow,
And cleaning gutters and,
crazy.
roofs and,
all right.
and I did estimates until about 15 years ago, so I spent 25 years doing estimates.
Okay, and I want to bring you up to speed, but where we are now. So we're just kind of, because the last meeting, we have all this, that we're trying to like filter out what is this committee's purpose and structure. And so what we've decided on now is a mission statement, and then kind of have like 3 main buckets that the objectives of the work we're trying to do fit under, because then there's all these other subcategories. So Shelley has a wonderful mission statement. Shelley,
Should I
would you
read
like to
it?
share it again?
To the mission of the Economic Development Committee is to bring economic vitality to Yamhill CBD and create a thriving community to live, work, and play. Simple, right?
Yeah.
So, I was asking if we should go ahead and just kind of spout out our goals for and then categorize them, but do you think that will take up too much time and we won't get through our agenda? We should do
Possibly,
it next
yeah,
time?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
then,
think
so we've
maybe-
got the live work, so historic designation, the storefronts or anything business
We
related.
could think about it, bring it back to
And
the
then
next one.
play is, the parks plan and the things like the Beverly Theory event does, so anything that's like community related. So
So-
then we can start.
So for workshopping that, everybody's homework is to think about the live, work, and play categories
Okay.
and to come up with some things that fit under those.
Mhm.
But
One
also,
or
I
one.
just think we don't need to think about them in the categories. Just what are your goals for the CBD?
Yes.
And we'll figure out where they fit. So don't try to create ones that are live, work, and play. Just what would you like to see in the CBD? in general
Mhm.
to bring economic vitality to the community. And then we'll figure out if that's a live goal, work goal, play goal, or
Yeah,
both or
yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our homework.
So with, should we jump to the parks plan, the timing and the scope of
Well,
that?
historic preservation integration, I just want to know what is the question on that? What are we trying to do on that one? Is that another one that's a workshop for later?
Well, possibly, I mean, that's under the historic, you know, the live thing, so that is,
Might
what
fall
does
under
that? Yeah, I think that falls under that, unless there's anything top of mind from, I mean, we currently,
Okay.
there was, I recall from our previous iteration of the committee, it was like, okay, what, the things that could be done to preserve the historic buildings versus having the whole town declared that, and then what kind of benefits and then restrictions would that put
Okay.
into our
So,
efforts?
yeah, because I have some questions about that, so which would probably require some workshop discussions, so maybe we can add this. to
And there
next
may be a, on the historic designation too, Walt, maybe somebody who you wanna
Oh,
get, there's maybe on a conversation. And or maybe, I mean, I don't know. You know, if Doug is the right person or not, either,
Yeah,
do that,
right.
but it's
Is
part
there
of
a
the.
statute on what is considered?
Well, so there's, I mean, there's certain, with everything you do, there's pluses and minuses, right? And so what we need to be able to do is look at, like, in terms of the historic designation, what the things are that are pluses, which is usually there's money or tax abatements that come with that. And if it's a tax abatement actually a plus when the city's the one collecting the taxes, that's to be determined. But it's within those contexts is, you know, do the pluses outweigh the negatives, right? And usually you want to fix something up and have it like ready before you freeze it in amber with the historic designation. Right? Because that, if you put the historic designation on it before, it makes it very cumbersome to get it to where it needs to be.
Right. We want to do that work first.
But I don't think that the historic designation is necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it has to be, I mean, you have to pull the trigger at the right time.
I have a document supplied to me by the state of Oregon, and Robert Hogan, who gave me the designation and the benefits and the drawbacks to being a historic area.
Do you have
Do
it
you
in
have that to
electronic
circulate?
format?
I will have to find it. I was
Okay.
looking through my notes here and I can't find it readily, but
Yeah, because I'd love to see what they consider, I mean, obviously the state, right? I'd love to
Yeah.
see what they
it's
consider.
not
the
that,
pluses and
it's
minuses.
only a one pager. It relegates to the fact that there is no encumbrance as far as what you can do with your building so long as you try and restore it in the manner of which it was. In other words, you don't want to turn it into a black box or a high rise or anything, but, and Sue knows that there is, tax, benefits to being a historic area where your taxes are deferred, for years and some other things, not too heavy of restrictions though. I mean, you know, not like,
It's
not
usually,
like an HOA or something.
right, it's usually the devil's in those details where you look at it and say, okay, who's the one who's making the determination?
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to do something in the area that was designated, how do you comply with the language of the code? And does that compliance mean is there a clear and objective standard, as Doug was talking about, or is it, you know, do I have to pay somebody to figure it out for me?
And just to give you some back information of the work Laney has already done, I've already reached out to the Dalles Historic District and talked to them. I've reached out to Hood River Historic District and talked to them. That's all I can find out of my notes right now, but
so maybe
Yeah.
for the next meeting, if you find that,
that document,
The document,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
just email it to everybody.
That'd be
Awesome.
awesome.
and then in that whole packet, or all the packets from yesterday's meeting, there was reference, or maybe it's the original, our first.
Oh, here it
meeting
is.
For the community advisory committee, but there was also some descriptions of the current historic, oh, awesome.
Here it is. So if I can
Properties
get,
that we have within our city limits.
if I can get,
I think that's actually listed in our historic, resolution that was created as well, those.
Okay, yeah,
Pretty sure
so I
they're-
know that I printed it out.
Angie, the photocopy, I can give you all a copy today. Federal tax credit, recognition, state tax benefit, grant eligibility, building code, leniency, construction and planning, restriction, private property owner, public owners, review by local government. That's it.
Okay.
All right, great,
We'll get copies after the meeting.
okay.
Okay.
So parks plan and timing. and
So the parks
scope-
plan, Philip is in the bathroom,
Yeah.
but, he'll wanna know. So we just are going out to RFP, sorry, Jeff.
Oh, I was gonna,
No, go ahead, Shelley. Shelley's up to speed.
okay,
We're, going to bid tomorrow. It's, the RFP's gonna be posted tomorrow, for our parks master plan update. It will be posted on our website. It'll be posted on Oregon Planners Network, and we're hoping to also post it with LOC. And then it'll be open, I think, 30 days. And then I can't remember the exact timeline of it, but hoping to have everything wrapped up.
so what does that look like?
So basically, we're requesting bids for somebody to update our master plan
Okay,
from 2004.
okay,
It's 20 years old.
okay,
And according to everyone we've talked to, it's just necessary to do because it's so old and also because, you know, if we're gonna be looking for grants for bigger things, we need to have an updated plan.
okay.
I don't know if I've already told you this or not. I don't think I did, but or maybe I emailed you. So the RFP, we are gonna go ahead and go to bid tomorrow, for the Parks Master Plan.
Perfect. You said it was happening, you said.
Yeah, tomorrow it'll be posted, if it's not already, it'll be posted by tomorrow on our website, Oregon Planners Network, and possibly LFC. And I believe I emailed Gil. 'cause
You
he
didn't say
asked.
it was yesterday or tomorrow that you were gonna do
I
that.
did.
Oh, did you?
I don't know that I told him the specific places, because I don't know when I responded, if I knew all of them, but I can follow up.
I'd love to get a copy of it when you get it done.
It'll be
or late.
posted on our website,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Can I add to that a little bit? I mean, some people in this room understand how the parks are funded. For those who don't, I will say, if you look within the budget confines of that actual park plan and the SDCs that we're capable of getting, we don't have a lot of matching grant funds. Like, I think our total is about 10,000 per year, maybe 7, that we can spend on the parks. So even if we do get a grant, and I've been stressing this a lot, we don't have the matching funds for some of the projects that are even listed on the 2004 CIP. And I think that's really like what this committee needs to look at is how do we become more actively financially responsible to make these projects happen? We're really handicapped in making these projects happen because we're pretty top heavy in the general budget. So everybody has to understand, even if we do get some barndominium up there or something that's $100,000, we don't even have the matching funds to make that happen. And I know a lot of people at this table understand that, but how do we approach that? How do we make that more active?
I'm actually less concerned about finding grants that require matching funds, because I think we can get grant opportunities put together that don't require it. My bigger concern is that, you know, even if we had something and it was free, is maintaining it, like, and your staffing levels and making sure that you've got the ability to like have the budget to maintain it.
Right.
That's a bigger concern of mine.
No, that's a great point. I mean,
Yeah.
we're pretty stretched at the time.
Yeah,
You know, so if we add anything that has that extra maintenance factor,
right.
I mean, that's gonna take another FTE or a
Right.
part-time FTE.
Right, so when we're looking at these projects as part of like sort of the grant capital stack and or, you know, the sponsorship capital stack as it comes together, is that we definitely have to be like, we'll be coordinating with you to understand your capabilities and like what you need, right? Do you need a full-time employee? Do you need a part-time employee? What do you think a budget to maintain something like that would be? And try to build that into at least the first 24 months of the post-project. And then kind of start looking at how we continue to throw money at that. Because some of this stuff won't be intrinsically self-sustaining. Some of it will be, but not immediately, right?
Right.
In addition to funding and park repairs in the budget, we also have the Yam Hill Community Committee that generates a certain amount of money to keep our parks
Right.
going. All the money that came out of Derby Days goes back into the park.
Well,
Isn't that just one
Beulah.
park though?
Just Beulah, right?
Yeah, just.
let's hold that back, because if past history serves me right, we haven't seen the rebuttal of that financial giving. You know, we haven't seen that grace. Basically, we operate on a city budget. Their budget is strictly theirs. They can do what they want with it.
Oh, I understand.
I'm
but
just saying, I don't
saying-
I don't want people to add that into a factor, which really those numbers don't exist within our budget, budget conflict.
Yeah, well, did they or did they not add the bark dust to the park for?
No.
No?
No.
And the 50,000 that they spent last year?
On what?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just going by what I was told. Yeah, okay.
Well, and for you, that's your prime season for doing the roads, doing all the
Exactly,
maintenance,
right.
you know, and so.
Right. You know, I mean, to Philip's point, there's a lot of factors that play into this. You know, if we hire another full-time person, another FTE, that has a ripple effect on admin. You know, it's like, there's a lot of factors in that, so I just want us to have a real focus on what we can really prosper and do to make this happen. You know, with the parks, we have tons and tons of money in SDCs, and I can't touch it because we don't have the funds. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting there that can't be touched until we have a system development and intact with the financial backing to go forward. And I don't want to be this naysayer here. I just want everybody to understand the facts of what we're dealing with. And I think most of us do, because we've been involved in the city council meetings, so.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Philip is, you know.
I've paid a lot of parks SDCs over the years. I understand how they work.
This is why we bring you on these.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but
Yeah, there's logistics that have to like take place and certain conditions need to be met. That's good. Like I said, I'm less worried about the upfront capital to do it than I am about the ongoing maintenance and what we need to do. Cause it's tough to, you know, finding the money for that, you know, for a point in time it's a little more challenging, but I mean, again, I'm an optimistic guy, right?
and I just want everybody to understand, to Philip's point, the ripple effect of us at Public Works hiring another full-time employee. Because right now, as it stands, and I hate to bring this up, I mean, admin can't even afford one full-time employee without our budget. So that's the restraint there, is that they're paying for 0.88 FTEs, we're paying for 3.25 FTEs. You know, so it's, if like, you know, Philip brought up a good point, that's what I want everybody to understand, is we'd have to bring somebody on staff to maintain all of that year round. I mean, right now, I have one individual that I have to pull off there, you know, within every 4 hours, just to get them kind of in the loop of what we're doing with the infrastructure. So anyways, with that said, I'll let you guys move forward.
I'll just have to say how great you guys have done with the limited funds and your team and how everything looks and all
Oh,
the
thank you.
work you've done, and
Thank you.
it's
Yeah, it looks great,
above and beyond.
honestly.
It's amazing.
I don't know if anybody's seen Highway 47 yet. That's the one
It's
it's looking good.
It's
looking
awesome.
good, yeah.
Yeah, plus you had your guy out for trunk or treat too, you know, he's like, I didn't know I was doing this, so like, dude,
Yeah.
it's great,
Thanks, Jenny.
yeah, it was fun.
Okay, where we at?
We're gonna, new business, so real quick, so as far as the Oregon Main Street opportunities, again, that kind of, you know, definitely falls under all of the buckets, but the conference, that Kara and I went to in Walla Walla, it was through Washington's Main Street organization, but then Oregon had a coalition there, and so we went to this Main Street 101 session the first day. That was great, and there were some key takeaways, but we don't have to go into too much detail, but one thing, as far as thinking about things that can be done, this one session that I thought was like, like, it was on faster, lighter, quicker, cheaper projects that can be implemented, but not necessarily, like require, major permitting or approval from city council, like things, that, so we can be thinking about, and this is a lot with the YDA, but like things that we can do that can help fix that stuff, for example. And so there were, different, like Stevenson representatives from there, some stuff that they did, in Ridgefield, Washington. But like, thinking about, like this in-between spaces, like that can be like, and that's if it's just like community, like pitch in, like the cleanup day kind of thing. I kept thinking about Lillian's car lot, like that could be an ideal, it's a prime location if we could somehow get enough, donations or something, but to be able to like clean up that's such a high, front and center space that could be just tidied up. We could redo her sign and highlight Lillian's used cars. So I won't,
So how would that be an Oregon Main Street activity? Would they help fund that?
well, that was ideas that were generated.
Yeah.
And so this was not about like necessarily a grant from Oregon Main Street,
What is it?
but it's ideas for what you can do.
So in
So,
other words, in the case of that example, if everybody agreed that's what we want to do for our project, it would just be community-led, community-funded, people would pitch in and help.
yes.
Sort of like how we did Earth Day, where we brought everybody in, cleaned all the weeds out of the cracks and sidewalks and painted curbs and stuff like that. One of the things that I think would be helpful is, maybe we can circulate the link for the Oregon Main Street handbook.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I meant to do that last time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because when I first was made aware of the organization through the YDA, I downloaded the handbook and just kind of like, I can't say I memorized it, but I like read through it. And it had a lot of really good ideas and structures in terms of like how, Main Street organizations function. And I think, it would be good to look at just from an idea standpoint.
Yes. I will do
Idea
that.
and process.
Yes, and I meant to, that was on my to-do list last time, and you see how, I'm very sidetracked. But, yeah, so there are, and I can also share, I'll send the slides from that session, and there are other sessions as well. And also, so we did a day trip, to Milton Freewater, which was so, made me feel so good about where we are with Yam Hill. I'd never been to Milton Freewater, nor had I been to Walla Walla, and there's population 6,000, so they're, further along with things. But they've got the same challenges and opportunities that we have with there's the growing wine industry, but there's the apple orchards, the somewhat desolate downtown spot, but with the efforts that they're doing, and then a renovation of their city hall that used to be a girls' college, and it's like so cool to see like the slow and steady progress they're making to improve that. So it was inspiring, and it, again, I think that there's a lot of good things came of it. And one other thing that came of it, as far as like us being members of Oregon Main Street, right now we are kind of the base level, as a connected, no, what's it called? Connected community, I think, but anywhere in the ground floor level. And we are actually ready to get into the next one, because of that, you can get more opportunities, more support, and more grant opportunities as well. And then we had a meeting with Sherry Stewart, who's the head of Oregon Main Street, and with some people from the Fossil and John, oh shoot, what are the three communities? Anyway, now you're counting 3 towns, but what they have done is they've started a hub. And so that's something that Sherry wants to explore with Yamhill County, like with us, not necessarily McMinnville, because they don't need it, but the smaller Oregon Main Street communities in our county that can pull together and pool efforts and ideas, and then also because of that would get funding for an actual admin to help. And so that's somebody who can help with grant writing and all of that. And so we are looking into that, but that seemed like a real positive thing. There wouldn't be like any competition, so like the revitalization grant and other grants. It's not like, okay, well, one from the hub would get that, but it was a way to get more get more out of the organization and, you know, learning from the other communities. So that's something that we're gonna look into and discuss further.
Probably tomorrow night,
Oh, is that tomorrow night?
I think so.
Oh, my God. Okay. Is it, or is it next week? Is it tomorrow?
I think
Okay.
it's-
Can I piggyback on that really quick?
Yes.
So, I don't know if you guys are aware too, that that's kind of a model I think that a lot of organizations are using now, because when I was at a regional administrators meeting, Hubbard was talking about how I think they're in Marion County, North Marion, that a lot of small cities like Hubbard, like Yamhill, are partnering together with other small cities and creating this coalition with this umbrella organization over it, and then they're applying for grants as that entity, and they're,
Yeah,
you know, so it's the same thing, and I don't think
Yes.
Yamhill County has that yet.
yeah.
So I was gonna actually talk to Joya about that, to see about getting a, you know, organization between all of the smaller communities to see if we could have a little more power amongst us for grants and projects that could then be applied to Yamhill and,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I want,
Carlton.
that's probably not.
Yeah, because it would,
Same.
from Joya's standpoint, right? So I mean, obviously, she's looking at the county on a countywide basis. So the larger and more affluent communities, so you would say Newburgh, McMinnville, Dayton's got their own economic development director, and then like Carlton, because they're obviously more affluent, but you're looking at, you know, so like, you know, Yamhill, Amity, Lafayette, the two West Valley cities, Sheridan and Willamette,
Mhm.
you know, if she was applying her efforts to those who don't, you know, who need the help as opposed to,
Right,
you know, I mean, because she doesn't need to do anything with MEDP, right? Because MEDP is
well, that
like
would be the
already
idea, the ones that
self-sustaining,
need
right?
the,
Yeah,
the.
that would be a really
coordination.
good use of her time,
Mhm.
so.
So, but knowing that this group is open to potentially being a part of something like that, as well as doing our own thing, I think that I would approach her with that.
Yeah. Well, and we had and I can't remember the ladies' names, but we had actually a couple of people come out from Willamina to one of our Yale County Tourism Partnership meetings. And, you know, they were enthusiastic and they want to do stuff, and they recognize they have some assets, they've got the river out there, they've got a park. You know, they want people to not just drive by on their way to the casino, so.
And what was the organization they came to?
Yamhill County Tourism Partnership,
Oh.
so basically all the destination marketing organizations, we have
And potentially that could be part of that umbrella organization as well.
yeah, so there's probably.
Everyone's working in
some
conjunction.
synergies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
carry on with.
Yeah, oh, well,
Just wanted to
that's-
add that because it was
Yeah,
similar.
so I'll send out slides that I did, they just sent all of the slides from their conference yesterday, so, I'll share those.
Love to
And-
see that.
Oh, yeah, and then there's the, like with the, if you do the hub, then there's also like legal, or your legal representation, like you're sharing that too, so it's just a way to get more out of it. So, those are key things.
Grant opportunities?
With that,
Grant opportunities aligned with EDC goals, categories.
So I think maybe that's a revisit that once we have the goals and the projects and things, the things
The buckets.
defined under there, yeah, right? Because then those will obviously inform, right?
yeah,
What types of money and who's interested in investing in those things.
and who is like in charge, because we can like find these grants and things, but then it's like, okay, then what's the process of going for them, and what does that?
With the Economic Development Committee,
Or, well, or who else? I mean.
Right, so I
YDA
think,
Stuff, or,
right, so I think there's multiple layers, right? Because there's,
Yeah.
depending on who the grant applicant has to be, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's municipal.
oh, right.
Sometimes it can be a 501c3, so there's some
Yeah.
synergies there in saying, you know, we're looking at these and then we can help air traffic control. Like it's a 501c3 applicant, so the YDA needs to do that. This is a municipal applicant, you know, direct that to Shelley.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then that way we can sort of start looking at who, because different foundations and organizations invest with different sort of clients and communities.
Because it's like, meeting with Kitri the other day, it's like, oh, she just sent more about the travel org and
Right.
stuff, and then we hear about these different things, and it's like, oh, that's great, or, you know, we'll share the emails, and then, you know, life goes on and.
Well, I'll tell you, I
deadlines need
get
to be
grant
met.
emailed to me every single day, and I just have a file that says grants, because there's so many, I mean, just taking the time to figure out if it even applies to you takes time and
Yeah.
research and effort.
Right.
So a lot of times what I'm doing is sending it to the expert, like, do we have any projects that fit this grant?
Okay,
And those people know, but I do take the time when I can to like read through it and be like, does
Okay.
anything sort of ring a bell? But like, if I got one on parks, I'd be like, does this apply to Jane Heinrich?
Right.
Or if
okay,
I got one on Whitey or on something economic, I would probably send it to this group and be like,
Okay.
does any of this sound like what we're trying to do? Or
if it's like
3J.
stuff,
Right.
art
Well,
stuff, send it to
Yeah.
YDA, because that's.
Right, and a lot of this foundational work that we're doing, both with, 3J, Rux, what we're doing
Yeah.
here today, this sets in motion sort of the things that allows us to apply for the grants, because
In
the
the future.
people who are investing in us via grants want to know that we have a written plan and
Yes.
goals.
But some of it
and-
you can't do until that's done, like Jason, I get grants all the time, and it's for when we're ready to construct the tie-in
Yeah.
to Hillsborough, but not yet, because we haven't even done the
Right.
study, right? So, yeah, that grant could apply to us, but maybe in a year.
Right,
But I still read through it to know that this kind of grant exists, and then maybe I'll be like, well, yeah, I'll go back to that source next year.
yeah, because we've got for Cycle Yamhill County on some projects that we're working on, we've got grants that are set aside that we won't meet this cycle, right?
Right.
And even if, I mean, we just don't have the capacity to meet them and the projects aren't ready.
Yeah.
And so it's like, those are usually things that'll come up again next year. And so it's
But we
it's
all
like,
need to be coordinating on this, because, for example, when you need to
Yeah.
apply for a grant, you're gonna want letters of support from us. When we
Yeah.
need to apply for a grant, we're gonna need letters of support. So we all need to be communicating and coordinating so that
Yeah.
everyone knows what each other's working on.
And then maybe if there's like a master list spreadsheet with what
Google
fits
Doc.
where, Google, you'll Google
I
it.
mean, I
And
have
then-
one that I've started, but that's already even out of date, because I can't keep
Uh-huh.
up.
Uh-huh.
So I think you'd
Okay.
have to keep one for YDA that's appropriate in Oregon Main Street that fits you. And
Yeah.
then I'd have to keep mine, and then we
Yeah.
can share notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Is-
We just
is
have regular.
City of Yamhill member of Mid Valley COG?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and we work with them on a regular basis.
Cool.
Well, it is after 4.
We
But
started
look,
like-
we kind of hit everything. Next steps. Okay, we got our marching orders. I'm gonna send out Oregon Main Street Handbook, slides from the conference. I think if we start to, I also made note of just contacts for businesses, whether they're storefront businesses or service businesses, and so maybe we can.
You're gonna ask for that, you said?
I guess we could look into.
Somewhere in my files, I think I have a list of the storefront businesses with all the relevant emails and or contact
Okay.
information, which I can find.
Yes, okay.
So when the community meeting comes up, I think that people today, because of their busyness, it's like, I was saying, how do we approach them?
Mhm.
I made some suggestions last year when we had our economic development meetings, that I feel like if we go to them, at the places that they're at, when they have the pancake breakfast, at Derby Days, at the Christmas lighting thing, at the Beverly Clary thing, if we had some kind of a presence where we could talk to people, but when we have the community meeting, maybe if we had some kind of a sheet that would say, give us your ideas on like these 3 things. Just simple, and if they want to put their name on it, they can put their name on it. If not, but maybe we could pass it out and have them turn back in at the end of
I
it.
like
or-
that idea. I would wanna run it by Doug and, Steve, just because it's their meeting and I don't wanna muddy the waters, but if I make it clear, like, this is for our use, and we can inform you guys if you're interested, but we would like to know this while we've got these people here.
Right.
That could be, I
Yeah.
can double check that, but I
Like
like
the
that
top
idea.
3 or 5 things that you
Yeah.
want, and then,
That you'd like to see.
right. And then you just kind of, I mean, because anytime I've seen those types of things done, or, I mean, even like when Doug was doing the whiteboard stuff, And there's themes, right? I mean, there's always weird outliers, like we want a
Yeah.
Ferris wheel on
You wanna
Main
get
and
the
Maple,
general.
but, yeah, but there's usually like always a top 3 or 4 things that everybody comes back and says that they want.
But if for some reason they don't really want it at that particular meeting, I think that there's a good idea to do it at something, like you said, reaching out and asking some other way and some other time or something. But hopefully we can do it there because they'll have everybody and it's a good coordination.
I mean, is there
Oh,
anybody in town that isn't on, is there anybody in town who isn't on one of the Yamhill Facebook pages?
I'm not
Well,
on
yes, because we got Patty, remember, who offered to put together a phone tree for those who were not
Oh, yeah, yeah.
electronically minded. And so she offered to do it. We've actually got a flyer going out soon. It's not a city thing, it's a Patty thing, but we just helped her with it. Because of liabilities, we don't want to be responsible, but, so far, the people that requested it, I think she's reached out to and they haven't responded, so it's one of those things where people say they want something, and then when something gets provided, they don't really
Right.
take them up on it, but she's made the offer available and she'll continue working on it, so.
How about the fire department sign?
What about it?
We flash the information on that?
I have no idea, I don't know the rules over there.
Oh,
We tried before, but apparently some kind of language in their grant doesn't allow you to advertise anything other than fire topics. so.
all right. We could put the heading fire. No.
I was gonna say,
We found the
In the city.
loophole.
who polices that, right?
Well,
Not
the-
a lot of-
The fire chief. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So, all right, so any other things for next steps? So I think if we're all gonna do our homework on categorizing, what we wanna see under these things. so
Are we
come
bringing it
prepared.
to the next meeting or sending it to be compiled before the next meeting
Oh,
and discussed?
I would be for that.
Compiling it?
I like
does that require?
email busyness.
Who wants
So
to take those
The
things?
the week before the meeting is when the agenda is sent out.
Mhm.
So we could say that would be the deadline to get
Okay,
them compiled, so we could, I guess, include it in that email.
okay.
if you
Does this
guys-
mean I'm supposed to do this as the chair, or does this mean
Do
you're
what?
supposed to do that as city administrator?
What-
Compile the list.
Well, I think if everybody just, you can all send it to me, and I can compile the list and
Okay.
put it on the agenda, or however you want to do
Okay.
that.
Thank
I mean, technically, yeah, I think it is supposed to be the chair, but I can do it.
Okay, good. I'll make it
Because
up
the
to
city
you.
manager, has many committees that
I
she's
know.
on. So if I did
True.
all of the work,
I
all the
know.
committees, we would have a problem.
I know.
But yeah, I can do that. No
Okay.
problem. This happens, never mind. Yeah, it's
We
good.
can arm wrestle.
Yeah, we'll arm wrestle.
Okay, so,
So
so by,
our next meeting is December 3rd, so that means
Oh.
the agenda goes out.
I'll work on some stuff over the weekend.
Hold on a second.
Bring it back from beautiful Kennewick.
Calendar, December
What
3rd.
you
So
doing there?
26th is when the agenda would go out to you guys. So I would need, let's say the December 20, wait, I'm sorry, November,
oh,
Yeah, November. 22nd.
November 22nd. Wait. Yeah, because if I'm sending it to you guys the 26th for our next meeting, I would need time to do it. So if you could send me everything no later than the 22nd, so I can compile it and include it in the 26th. notes.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Got it down.
alrighty. Well,
And we'll get copies of that, right? How many do you need? 1, 2, no, you don't need one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So are we in the other category yet?
Say it again?
Are we
oh,
in
other,
Others?
yeah,
Other category? So I may be speaking out of turn and I'll have Shelley correct me because I sit on so many committees. I was sent email information about going to some classes to learn about city government and my position and the ins and the outs of Robert's rules and what to say and what not to say and how to say it and everything that you say that you need schooling in, is that available to them as well? Or
What's the
or
class?
That was
just-
strictly budget.
What's the class? What?
That was in regards to budget committee.
But what was the class that you were sent to?
I signed up for it.
I'll just say I don't have the time to go to a class. I'll just be honest with you, my job's like out of like crazy.
But
right
can
now.
you tell me what that class is, or send it to me so I have the
But I'll
resource?
get,
I've got so many eyes.
Is it the OGEC,
Yeah.
Oregon Government Ethics,
Yes,
that one?
yeah.
Yeah, they are, everyone I think is, well, they're appointed, not elected. I think it's only for elected. But no, I sent it to you
I think,
guys.
yeah,
That is required, and so everyone that's on a committee would have to go to that at some point. They can sign up.
Because there's a class every month
Yeah,
and,
I'm going to the one in February.
you're going to the last one. Huh?
Well, because that's the only one I can go
Yeah,
to.
yeah, I'm going to the Hillsborough one. So,
Yeah,
okay.
But,
So I need to make an effort then too.
yeah, I think that's a requirement.
Not
but
finding
there's
these
one
things.
every month. and-
That's not our role, by the way.
Yeah,
Municipal volunteers training opportunities,
That's
not
correct.
mandate.
yeah, training opportunity,
Is that the one?
Okay.
Where did you see that?
Yes,
So I can look.
thank you.
Do you go? Is that what you said? What'd you
No,
say?
I said,
She wants
Where
to
did you
know
find that?
Where did,
So
where
that
the
I-
information come from?
Do you want to circulate that?
Came from
Jay?
me, I think,
Yes, you and Angie.
yeah.
I'll look through, back through your emails.
I'll forward it.
And here's the other document that you need.
What's that?
Both of these.
This is an extra copy or this is a different one? Oh, there's two different ones. Okay,
Sue,
okay.
at the gutter man,
Yeah, that works.
okay. Philip, would you like it?
Yeah, I think I've already done the training for.
You guys should have all received it as members of this committee,
That's correct.
Okay,
but
Is
feel
that-
free to forward anyway, because we all get so many, it's easy to get lost.
okay. Thank you. All
So it was
right,
good.
Yeah.
so
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, I am too.
any other items to add?
No, thank
Nope.
you.
Okay, next meeting,
December.
December 3rd.
December 3rd, 3 o'clock.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Motion to adjourn the meeting, is that what we
No,
did?
you're actually, you have,
Oh, I
you have the
see.
power.
The meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, she knows that.
Lower that gavel.
Thanks,
All right.
Jason.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. See ya.
Good to see you too. You are doing an incredible job, Jason.
Oh, thanks.
Oops.
So,
Oh, yes, I'm making photocopies.
And then did you figure the sign, size of the sign?
We had a conversation and Shelley's figuring out the next steps and getting back to me.
Okay. Excellent.
We're trying to decomplicate it
Excellent.
for the poor nonprofit that wants to give the city economic